Well, good morning, everyone. If you don't know who I am, my name is Tracy. You've received emails from me. I work in the Center for Global Education, and I'm managing this nursing program along with the other nursing programs that go abroad. So you'll be receiving more communication from me throughout the pre-departure process. And I'm really happy to meet all of you today. Mary, do you want to talk a little bit about the course?
I can. I think you all know this is an 8-credit course that you'll be taking next fall. It's our public health course. And we have 1 credit of it is set aside for your clinical experience. So where you all will be going, Anna Marie's, prison. And then 1 full credit is this immersion experience, which is Zambia. So that's kind of how we figure the 8 credits. And we really are broadening. You're moving next year from the care of the individual to the care of populations and communities, and specifically vulnerable populations. So that's what you're going to see when you come into 303. It's a very different animal than what you've experienced so far, especially this junior year, where you are really looking specifically at social determinants of health, and so where people live, kind of what their built environment is, what kind of access they have, and all that will really come together well when we go to Zambia. And it's really going to be, I think, a great way to wrap up the semester, because we're going at the end of the semester. So let's see. You can see the outcomes here. You also will meet your flow. You guys are all, or most of you are in the IC, the new curriculum, right? Okay, so you'll meet some of those standards, the cultural and social difference systems piece, and the GLOW in this course. So your artifact for the GLOW is going to be this media project. And so have any of you seen the media project this year? Okay, previous. Okay, so that's where all of this will come together, and you'll work on that. We'll give you guidelines before you go on video recording, who to interview, those kinds of things. And then when you come back, you'll work on putting that all together and presenting it. So it's a very, very cool project. Excuse me.
Yeah. Then just a brief introduction to Zambia. This is where you'll be going. It's right settled in between Zimbabwe, Angola, so Southern Africa, and it has a population of 20 million. You'll be housed in a volunteer house, so it'll be sort of like a hostel setting, bunk beds, that sort of thing. And you'll be partnering with Kaya Responsible Travel, so that is our partner on the ground, also African Impact. They work together. So when you go in November, the weather will be probably with highs in the 90s, lows in the upper 60s. It'll be just the start of the rainy season. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about what clothing to pack. And then some fun facts about Zambia. There's more than 70 languages spoken in the country. You can use English to communicate, but there are more than 70 other languages spoken. And then it is also the home to Victoria Falls. So has anyone ever been to like Niagara Falls or other big waterfalls? How would you? Not comparable.
Well, and the indigenous name for Victoria Falls is Mosiotunya, which means the smoke that thunders. And that's what it is. It is a thunderous kind of micro environment that there's nothing like it. It's its own climate, and it is huge. Now we were there in March, was the end of rainy season, so it was full, and we will be there at the beginning of rainy season, so it'll be drier, and we may be able to explore other areas that we couldn't in March just because or February, because there'll be less water. But where we stay is kind of that bottom star on the southern, kind of where you see the Zambezi River and Victoria Falls. Yep, that's kind of where Livingstone is. The other thing about the 70 languages, they're tribal languages, and we get by with English in a professional sense and where we live. However, when we go out into communities, then oftentimes it's the tribal languages.
And you'll be doing that with community partners.
Yeah.
So you'll have your interpreters and that. Good. All right. Zambia is also home to Africa's Big Five. Does anyone know what the Big Five are? Any guesses? Animals, yes. Which ones? Giraffe's not one of them. Good guess though. Hippo. No. Elephant. Good. There's one. Lion. Elephant, lion. You have two.
One.
Rhino. That's three. There's two more. So the Big Five, historically, these animals are known to be dangerous, and so they're like trophies for hunters. So what were the two that are missing? Elephant, rhino, lion. Jaguar. So similar to a jaguar, but not a cheetah. Also very similar. Leopard. Yep. Close. And then an African buffalo is the fifth one to round it out. All right. Good. And here's your program itinerary. So I sent this out with your acceptance materials the other week. So in order to arrive in Zambia on November 4th, that's a Saturday, you'll need to leave Minnesota on Thursday. So on Thursday, you'll depart from Minneapolis Airport, and you're going to need to book a round trip to Johannesburg, South Africa. Part of your program fee will include a group flight from Johannesburg to Zambia. So you'll be all together traveling from there to Zambia and back. What you guys need to book on your own is a round trip flight from Minneapolis to Johannesburg. So you'll depart Minneapolis on Thursday. A common route to take is Minneapolis. I'll talk more about flights in a bit, but Minneapolis to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta, there's a direct flight to Johannesburg, which is awesome. I'll talk more about that in a second. So you would arrive in Johannesburg then on the afternoon of Friday, November 3rd, and then you would spend the night at the Johannesburg airport. And part of the program fee also is your hotel for that night. So you don't need to pay for that hotel or your flight then to Zambia separately. That's all included in your program fee. Then on Saturday, you will all fly together from Johannesburg up to Livingstone. You'll arrive directly in Livingstone, and then you'll have your transfer to the volunteer house where you'll be staying. So the BLD stands for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's what's included in your program fee as well. So you'll have then dinner included in your program fee already on Saturday evening when you arrive. And then you'll start the day Sunday with orientation. So you'll get to know the site, the project, and you'll have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and also a visit to Victoria Falls scheduled for that day. This is subject to change, but you'll be doing all of these things, but some of the excursions may change from one weekend to the next. So it's tentative, but this is all included in your program. So currently we're planning then for you to go to Victoria Falls on that Sunday, and then the Monday directly after that is when you'll start project work. You'll be with the local clinic and be doing home visits in the villages from Monday to Friday. So from Monday to Friday, you'll have that with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then Saturday is when you have time for excursions, more excursions, Saturday and Sunday, that weekend in the middle of the program. So you'll have a bicycle village tour, a sunset cruise, and also a national park safari. So on those 2 days, you'll only have breakfast at the volunteer house, and then lunch and dinner will be on your own. So that's why you budget a little bit for spending money on your own to buy your own food those days. And then you'll continue the project work Monday through Friday on that second week, and you'll depart then Livingstone on Saturday, November 18th to go back to Johannesburg and then connect to your own itinerary back to the US. Does that make sense? And so this is Livingstone. You'll be working in the local clinic and doing some home-based care visits. Mary, do you want to comment anything on this?
Truly, I mean, this is truly what it looks like. So we're housed in Livingstone, and then we get bused or shuttled out to the small villages outside the community. Strap on a backpack like Faith has there, and we go out in groups of 3 or 4 with a community leader. So you can see in the very front of the line there is Benson. He's one of the community leaders, also works as an interpreter, and especially important is he knows the community. So he knows who needs care, who needs to be seen, who's home, where they live, and really is our guide on those home-based care visits. We also we worked in clinics in the mornings. So typically we had a morning project. We leave about 7:30 or 8 on the shuttle, go out, walk the villages, provide the care, or work in a clinic, and then come back for lunch. And then we had an afternoon project too. I don't know if we're going to be doing like group education. And that, I guess, we have to hear from Kaya on their final itinerary. But then we went out to a school in the afternoon and did HIV education, or we did some women's health, girls empowerment, those things. Oh, and that's right there on the bottom. That bottom middle picture is at a school. Yeah.
Any questions about Livingstone or the project? Kaya will be finalizing, because the project it's catered to the community needs. And so what it is now might change a bit from here to November. So they will let us know exactly what you'll be doing closer to the date. All right, and so this is your accommodation, just some pictures of that. You'll be staying at a volunteer house called Victoria Falls Backpackers. You'll be housed in groups, so 4 to 6 students per room, and you'll share bathrooms. So hostel style. It does have a swimming pool and some lounge areas, so very nice. And all of your meals will be there except for lunch and dinner on weekends. So you'll be sharing your meals there as it's stated in the itinerary.
Okay. I think we were all pleasantly surprised with the accommodation. We look forward to a room. It gets warm, and there is no air conditioning, and 90s. It is 90s and humid. I've experienced when we were there. So just plan for lots of heat. And then the dinners are family style. They're home cooked by locals, and we sit down all together.
So a little bit about cost and finance then. So you'll be billed, your program fee will be part of your tuition that's billed in July, but with your fall semester tuition. So this is a breakdown of what the program fee is. I have a breakdown on the next slide, but here you'll see you'll be charged your regular tuition, whether that's CSB or SJU. Then you'll have this additional embedded course fee, which is $4,200. And so that will be on your bill in July. Your housing and food, this is sort of a budget to see like what will I be spending for the whole semester. So housing and food will depend on what your situation is on campus, and then whatever financial aid package you have is applicable to the program fee. So it applies to your tuition and the program fee. So that's all covered in your financial aid. So that's why we say you can subtract financial aid to see exactly how much you'll be billed. And then in the program fee that I also emailed you is this document that looks like this. It was a PDF that was attached to the email. There are some non-billable items in there, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. But if you follow this formula, you can kind of figure out how much you will be paying right, for the semester. Any questions on this so far? You know, finances can be confusing and I want it to be clear for everyone. So this is a breakdown then. So you'll have your tuition, your semester tuition, and then the course fee on top of that. Your housing is included in the course fee. Like I said, that group flight is included. Your hotel for the way there is included. Things that you'll need to pay out of pocket are within the red bracket. So there's a visa fee that you'll need to bring cash for. That is $30 for Zambia. So everybody who's going into Zambia from the US with the US passport needs to pay this fee for the visa to enter the country. We estimate $100 for food when you're traveling and when you're on sites for those weekends. This could be more than you would spend. Maybe we're over budgeting, but everybody has their personal preferences with food. So that's just an estimate then. We estimate then a round trip flight from Minneapolis to Johannesburg is around $1,800. I've seen like $1,400. It depends also on the fare that you book. If you book economy or higher than that, right? If you include your luggage, all of that adds cost. So I've seen anything from $1,400 up to $2,000. So we're estimating around $1,800, but you all can monitor the price of the flight and book when you think it's a good price, when you see a good price.
Can I just, well, or I can wait. I know you have a slide on that.
Yeah. Yep. And then we do require all of our study abroad students to have a phone while they are abroad that works not when they're not connected to Wi-Fi. So if we need to call you or send you a text message in the case of an emergency. And so we can talk through different options for phone plans as the day gets closer, but you can either add an international plan to your existing plan, or you can get like a burner phone with a SIM card when you get into the country. That actually might work better. I think the group this past spring was like, you know, we added data and it didn't work. It just didn't connect to the local network. So when you get to the country, you might just want to get like one of those old-fashioned phones. That's an option too. You have an option to like add on an eSIM. So there's lots of options out there for your phone, but that's something that we require you to have when you're on site is a phone. That works. So we budget around $50 for that, but the price really does vary based on the plan that you choose. And then if you were looking to buy souvenirs or do any extra personal spending, you can budget as needed. We estimated at $200, could be more, could be less. And then if you haven't applied for a passport, or if you've recently applied for a passport, it's $165. Have you all applied for a passport or have a passport that is valid through May 2024? Fantastic, good. Passport wait times are currently up to 15 weeks. So if you don't have a passport, now is the time to apply in order to have it by the fall. Questions on this breakdown of costs? Yes.
Mary might be able to answer this. For like spending there, they take most credit card companies.
No.
Okay.
What we did mostly, it depends where you're going.
Okay.
So like there was a grocery store that would take credit card, or yeah, when we buy our dinner at the hotel, because that's not included, credit card. But when you're out at the markets, it's they will often take US dollars. It'll cost you a little, I mean, you'll spend more if you use US dollars. So we would convert to Kwacha. And there is an ATM very close by. So if you have a debit card or a way to withdraw cash from a cash machine, that's probably the easiest. And that's an easy walking distance from where we stay. So that was kind of the best way to, I think, get cash.
And that tends to give you the best rate too.
Yes.
So if you're trying to like bring cash and then exchange at the airport, that's not going to give you as much bang for your buck.
Right. There was a place to exchange cash, the bureau. And the bigger the bill, the better the rate. Yeah. Yep. So bring $200 bills or bring 50s. You get a better exchange rate for 50, then a 20. I only had 50s,
Mhm.
and I didn't know that until we got there. But really, the ATM worked
And then what's the average cost?
for.
Like meals and stuff.
It's cheap.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, pretty cheap. And yeah, we could go to the grocery store. I mean, students went to the grocery store and they buy junk, like gummy, you can buy gummy worms at the grocery store or chips or whatever. Okay, so this little pack of Oreo, a pack of like 20, however many Oreos this is, was 24 kwacha. I remember this first thing I bought. For this, yeah. No, I shared it. And there's 15 kwacha to $1, no, $2, right? So
And Livingstone is a touristy area with Victoria Falls close by, so it's not going to, but it's still relatively cheap. I mean, prices are decent. Yeah. So, good question. Any other questions on costs? A bit then about your airfare and travel planning. So this is advice that we give to all study abroad students, is that when you are ready to purchase your flight, book it directly with the airline. So it can be tempting to look at Skyscanner or Kayak or Student Universe, all of these like searchable engines that will give you what seems like deals that are too good to be true, and often they are. So don't book those ones. You can definitely use those tools to find flights. So use Skyscanner and say, oh, I found this great flight to Johannesburg, but then go directly to the airline's website. So go to delta.com or united.com, whatever the airline is that you'd be booking with, to book that flight. Because if you do need to change, if you do need to cancel or make any modifications to your itinerary, the airline will be accountable for that. But if you book through a third party, you will be out money every time. So that's our advice that we give to you for that. So you book your flight then from Minneapolis to Johannesburg round trip for the dates that we talked about. So you'd need to leave on Thursday, November 2nd, and then come back on Saturday, November 18th is when you would depart from Johannesburg. And Mary hasn't booked her flight yet. We're working on that. But when she does, we'll share that itinerary with you in case any of you want to be on the same flight. We'll provide that as an option, just so you have that. So you're not required to be all on the same flight, but if you would prefer to buddy up, it's always nice to have some travel companions. So, or if you would like to know that there's faculty on your flight with you, we'll share that itinerary with you. So once it's booked. So look out for hacker fairs. Don't fall trap to those. And then also we do recommend booking with zero changeable fees. So often this would not be the cheapest option. It would be a couple $100 more, maybe $100 or $200 more, but that would give you the option to make any changes that you need to your flight itinerary.
it also then often includes luggage,
Yeah.
like two check bags.
Yep. So it's always good to really read the fine print when you're booking a flight ticket to see what's all included, what's not, if there are any hidden fees and all of that. So to compare the different fares. We encourage you to read the change and cancellation policies. So you would be responsible for all of that. Remember, this is all, the round trip flight is your responsibility. So however much you spend is up to you, but we also want you to spend wisely. So it is a big chunk of money to book a round trip flight to Johannesburg. So any questions on booking that? Yes.
So you guys are booking the flight from
Yeah.
And if we have bags, we have to pay for that in that portion.
We will.
We didn't last time.
Because you didn't do the into. It wasn't.
No, but even our flight to Vic Falls
To
to Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
it included, and I would not encourage you to bring two check bags. That's a lot of luggage. Emma, no, who was it? Someone got by with a carry-on. Everyone else checked bag. And we'll let you know.
We'll let you know,
Yeah, because our flights on FastJet included a check bag.
Okay, yeah. So that also hasn't been booked yet. So I can't book the group flight until I have all of your passport information. So I believe that's a form that's been uploaded to your global portal, right? Okay, so if you have your passports, scan it, upload it to that global portal so that I can book those flights as soon as possible and let you know.
So do we have to let you know then how many bags so you can, because when you want to book the bags with the flight, you know?
We'll follow up with that because if it's included, then it won't matter. But yeah, good question. Yes. So, all right, reminder, yeah, to get in your passport information because the sooner I have that, the better. All right. And then as you're preparing to travel to Zambia, we encourage you to look at the State Department's website. It has a wealth of information for you as you prepare to go. So it's travel.state.gov and you can search for Zambia and it has all of this country information for you. So it's currently at a level 1, so that's the safest category of countries to travel to. And you can click here where it says country information page and read all about it, all about what you can expect and things that you'll need to know as a traveler in Zambia. So we do recommend bringing full supply of any prescription medication that you need in the original bottle with a doctor's note. Also bring your vaccination card just in case, bring masks, tests to have on hand. It's always handy to have those. Zambia does have a list of controlled substances, so that's also wise to be to review before you pack and travel, just to make sure any over-the-counter medicine that you have or prescriptions don't contain any substances that are considered illegal in Zambia. So there's a huge long list of those that you can review. I'll show you that next, but leave anything that's on that list, leave it at home, because we don't want to risk anybody running into legal trouble in Zambia. Leave your CBD, your cannabis at home. Leave anything that requires electricity for your hair maintenance. Leave that at home. You won't need it. It won't be any useful. And the electric current might zap it. So best to just leave that at home. Leave plants and fresh food at home. There are lots of laws about transporting even like a banana that you get in the airport into a new country. So just leave all fresh food and plants behind. But please look through that website because it has a lot more information there. So it talks about like crimes that are typical within the country. So it's really crimes of opportunity, right? Anything that could happen to you here. Someone's stealing your cell phone, pickpockets, that sort of thing. You'll be in a touristy area, so sometimes there are people just waiting for those crimes of opportunity. So just be aware of what you're carrying with you at all times. Just be smart, street smart.
Same with things like jewelry.
Yeah,
leave it at home.
Yeah, best to just go simple, right? So we'll share more packing advice with you with an orientation with Kaya in the fall. They have really good advice for more packing tips. But in the meantime, please look through this website. And then this is the website then for the list of controlled substances. So if you click on learn more, they're under the controlled and prohibited substances in Zambia. It's a whole long list. And you guys as nursing majors understand all of those words better than I do. So you can look through it and make sure that your medicine is legal in that country.
Diphenhydramine is on the list. Yeah. And I don't know, when we entered, we crossed the border we're going to be at a different border crossing because we're going to be flying in and going through customs in the airport. It might be more strict, would be my guess, than us walking across the border.
Yeah.
So possible. They didn't check for Benadryl, but.
So they all diphenhydramine?
What's that?
Motion sickness. It's the same for our category though, so I'm like,
It's on the, I think people took, the other thing I just did was get a note from your doctor that says, my clients prescribed this medication for. Yeah,
Yeah, either find an alternative that would work or get a doctor's note.
the worst they're gonna do then, I think, is make you throw it away, not throw
Yeah.
you in jail unless you refuse.
Yep. Yeah, upcoming deadlines, I know you're all ready for summer mode and but before you check out, keep these deadlines in mind. We would like your passport information by August 1st, but as I said, if you do have your passports now, get that information uploaded right away and we can book those group flights for you already. And hopefully get a better rate for all of you the sooner we book. And then by August 15th is when we would request your flight itinerary. So over the summer, you can connect with each other. We'll be sharing Mary's flight itinerary, and then you all can be monitoring flights to know when's the best time for you all to book, but then upload that information also to our global portal by August 15th. All right, good. So as another reminder, your passport must be valid through May 19th. So it needs to be valid 6 months from your return from Zambia to the US. It must have at least 3 blank pages if you were crossing through Zimbabwe, at least 1 for Zambia. So make sure it has at least 1 blank page. In my experience, nobody's even stamping passports anymore, so you should be fine with blank pages. Then if you do decide to, well, I just want to make you all aware of the cancellation policy. So if you do decide to cancel from and withdraw from the program, that needs to happen. The decision needs to be made in writing, right? You need to communicate to me in writing that you wish to cancel. Your application fee, which was $100, that's non-refundable. And then depending on the time that you do decide to cancel, there is a cancellation policy that's on our website and also included in your acceptance materials. So depending on the timing of when that would happen, we would apply a cancellation fee, and then you would also be responsible for up to 100% of the program fee, depending on the time you cancel. So keep that in mind. You can review your acceptance materials for those full details on the cancellation policy, but we just wanted to make sure you're all aware about that. And then you have all been registered for this course by the nursing department, so you don't need to do anything else with your registration. No modifications are needed there.
Zambia, you are registered for both 303 and 303I. Does anybody, is that what it is? The J?
you're registered.
Okay, so you'll have 2 registrations, and that's because we have a separate Canvas page for, actually it's 303, whatever the letter is, I, that triggers the course fee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Around the end of summer, so in August, we'll also be adding you to this Canvas module. It's an online orientation, so it's something that we give to all of our study abroad students. So you'll need to review. There's 4 or 5 online modules about health and safety preparing to go abroad. So there's some videos and materials for you to watch and go through, and then just a comprehension check at the end. It's pretty simple, but we ask all of you to do that before you go abroad. And it also links to our student handbook that has more information, especially about cell phones and packing tips for going abroad too. So we'll add all of you to this orientation in August, and we'll also make it available for your parents, guardian supporters. Whoever you listed as your emergency contacts will be sent the link to this too. Yes.
Do people do laundry, or do they just pack enough?
So there, you can have laundry done on site. You pay for it, like $5 for a load. And like I did that once. Students, I think, washed their own. Like I brought a little bottle of detergent and washed stuff in my room too. So, but that's a good.
You just pack like them.
Yeah.
You could get like a laundry, like a bar of soap for washing clothes too, and just
Yeah.
hand wash
Mhm.
at the accommodations too, and air dry.
Right.
That's also an option.
The hard thing about, and the weather, I don't know if it'll be drier then. I mean, it was super humid. It was like your best August or July Minnesota day. You know, hot and humid and sticky, but fewer mosquitoes. So don't be alarmed by the whole area. But nothing, it was hard to get stuff to dry outside, or,
Yeah.
you know, that's the only thing. Yeah, just bring stuff you can easily rewear and,
Do you have like a certain like dress code?
yep. So when we are out in the villages, we have to dress conservatively. So that means no short shorts, anything, pants or shorts, any pants below have to be below your knee. And a t-shirt with a sleeve. So no tank tops, no spaghetti straps, nothing. That's kind of the out in the community dress code. We did go, you know, when we went on this sunset cruise, people dressed up, maybe wore a sundress or wore shorts on the bike tour, I think, but not short shorts because you're still out in the villages. It's a conservative country, and it's a Christian country, so they really uphold those more conservative values.
Even like leggings, if you wear leggings, make sure your shirt covers your bum.
Yep.
So make sure your bum's covered and your tum too. So Kyle will
Yep.
say cover your bum and tum because it's conservative dress.
Right.
So like scrubs or not?
We decided not to bring scrubs. I think your scrubs are probably
Yeah.
okay. So when we went out in the village, it we're like linen or cotton crop pants and a t-shirt, and that's what the students wore too. I don't know if any of our pictures on there have students, but yeah, and any like Tracy said, leggings, you really need to have your butt covered. So it wasn't.
Everywhere.
He wore, yeah, Honey wore like long pants and a t-shirt, but you know, like, and then good shoes. Where are we there? So yeah, you can see us.
Make sure they're any like lightweight material
Yeah.
that waterproof or quick dry.
Yeah.
That would be a good idea.
Can we wear, do they have to be like closed-toed shoes? Like if you have like hiking sandals, like chacos or?
Chacos, a lot of people wore chacos.
Okay.
When we were out, like, look where we're walking up there on that rocky trail. Like Faith has sandals on, but I always wore tennis shoes. I think if you bring a pair of closed-toed shoes, maybe, and then the chacos, that's probably good.
Yeah, you can wear your closed-toed shoes on the flight. You'll be leaving Minnesota in November, so it'll be cold. You'll be returning to Minnesota in November, so it'll also be cold then. So, yeah.
But when we were like working or sitting around at the at backpackers, short. I mean, then you'll want a tank top and some shorts and a swimsuit.
Good questions.
A towel that you have to bring your own towel. Bring a towel that don't bring your most thick, plush, lovely beach towel because it will never dry.
Yeah. Bring like a camping towel, a quick dry. It's your best bet.
Yeah. Are you still thinking about this travel?
Maybe. Are you?
I wanted to throw it out to the group because I know us two are kind of thinking about seeing where maybe in like Europe to go.
It's we checked like initial flight prices and it's like an extra like 200.
It's basically, yeah.
So it's not.
So what I checked on was where is it warm in Europe in November?
Mediterranean.
Right. So Italy, Greece, you know, that kind of the southern.
Yeah,
Italy's
Italy's more expensive. To Greece was like 200. So
I don't know, we could set up a group chat and see like who's interested, but
And the flights too.
yeah.
And how long? Well, and you're flying, I mean, 15 hours is a long time.
It's like on the way anyway.
Right, well, you can fly 8 hours and then you fly 8, right?
Wow. Yeah.
If you do set up like I don't care if you guys want to set up your own group me or whatever you
Set up a
do.
group chat right now.
And if you would include me on it, I mean, I don't think you probably can have your own too, but include me on one of them. That'd be great. I'll have my phone
I
number.
don't know if who's all interested in travel.
Yeah, it depends on the timing. So I think back to that.
Yeah. Which we can like, I don't know, it doesn't have to be like a super long trip by any means either, but I feel like the bigger the group, the kind of the easier.
Can you all text me like with your, this is Gavin, this is Sam, this. So I can get your phone numbers too.
As you're doing that, I did want to mention, this is also in your acceptance materials, but we will be enrolling you in insurance while you're abroad. So you'll all be in the same policy through St. Ben's and St. John's. But if you do decide to post travel, we encourage you to book your own insurance, add on your own insurance, and our policy will allow you to add on and just pay. Then you would pay separately for that.
And it's cheap.
It's cheap. Yep. And worth having.
Yeah. Did you all hear that?
I know you're all on your phone, so I'll repeat that when you're all.
I just sent a text message. Yeah, we're gonna get it, you know.
That was on my, painted in my room. Pretty.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll repeat what I just said. It was in your acceptance materials, but I know you all read that word for word and studied our acceptance packet as you're studying for finals too. So we do enroll you in international emergency and health insurance. So if you do need to visit a doctor or anything on site, that's covered through our insurance, but it will only cover you for the program dates. So it will cover you from November 2nd to the 18th. And then anything you decide to do after that, say if you do decide to stop in Europe, we would encourage you to add on your own insurance. And you can do that through the same policy, and it's pretty affordable to do that, and it's very worth having. So note about insurance. Also, as you're preparing this summer, make sure if you have like your annual physical or coming up with your doctor, make sure to mention that you're planning to go to Zambia so that they can help you to prepare as needed.
You can also book like a travel thing through the health center.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did that for Mexico and it was really helpful because then they gave me like an antibiotic that you might need when you go there. And
Yeah.
they give you like all the information.
And that's free.
Yeah.
So also a good resource for you.
Also, typhoid, I think, is recommended for Zambia.
Are there any like required vaccinations that we have to get beyond
Type-
one?
And COVID. So you have to be fully, you have to submit your COVID vaccine info to Kaya. So that is required. If that is an issue, make sure you let me know ASAP. Typhoid, and then they will probably offer you anti-malarials, which I think everyone on our group did take.
But does it kill?
They take it right before, yeah.
leave too.
Yes.
After you get that.
Yeah, there's different options for malaria medication, so definitely talk with your doctors about that too.
I mean, I would still take it. However, I did see fewer mosquitoes in Zambia.
It's the water standard, I think you said.
Yes, make sure you bring a water bottle, and we'll fill it every day. Yeah, right on site, safe drinking water.
We have power converters. For plugins.
If you want to plug something in, yes.
Is it it's the British one, it's the UK blood card.
If you go buy something, it'll tell you like this is for Africa. And there were actually two kinds. There was the 3-prong one, and there was a couple times there was the two.
Is it that one?
It's not as much. There's more 3-prongs than the 2-prong. I can actually like.
I know it's packed with details.
Yeah, and I can bring my stuff in. I have a big tote of stuff. Like I just packed it away, like because I'm bringing it again. So, or send you guys
Did you
pictures.
experience any like load shedding?
Just one time. It was pretty minimal.
Okay.
It was not bad.
Okay. So load shedding is something that happens frequently in South Africa and Southern Africa, where they'll just turn the power off for up to 12 hours a day. So that's something to keep in mind. Maybe you want to bring like a portable charger, not that you would be able to connect to any cell phone services or anything, but be aware that the power is out frequently.
It happened to us once in the evening for a couple hours.
But if you have like a portable charger, wise to bring for your phone.
Sunscreen, bug spray, heat.
Heat is what you look for in bug spray. The higher the heat, the better it is to repel. So look for bug spray that says like 50% heat. Go to your local ACE. Yeah, it's like
Yes. Yes.
Any other questions?
and a change certificate.
Who's excited?
Yeah. I am going to, just a little detail. I'm gonna bring, what I am planning to do is bring a suitcase of stuff to donate. So, there's a huge need. And what I probably will bring mostly are supplies, like for the backpack. So any kind of, even if you're cleaning out, don't throw away just simple Band-Aids, gauze, wraps, antibiotic ointment, cortisone, any of that, just basic first aid stuff. That's what I'm going to bring. And I'll let you know, they have a list. African Impact has a list, and I can send that out to everyone. So even if when you're shopping for back to school or whatever, then you can pick something up if you want to. Feminine hygiene products, also those kinds.
Any other questions? Okay, so what's the first thing you're gonna do when you leave here if you haven't already done it? Thank you. Yes, upload your passport to the global portal.
Yes, everyone.
I will have my flight within the next week, maybe within the next hour if Tracy stays here and bugs me about it. But there is this flight, this Delta flight was a nice one that we took. And if you have Sky Miles or your family does, use Delta, you might be able to upgrade and get a better seat. And it was a great flight. The only one cautionary piece is always allow yourself enough time in Atlanta. Both ways, we almost didn't make the flight in Atlanta. And that was, we had a 2.5 hour layover, but because of other delays. So what I'm going to do this time is book a longer layover, probably 4 hours.
Also, if you're connecting through Europe, it won't matter so much if you're planning to stay a few days, but if you have a tight connection in Europe, I recommend Amsterdam. Do not recommend Paris. So it's just full of issues for trying to make a connecting flight. So avoid Paris if you can.
And remember, you'll have to go through customs in those places. So it's that added step.
Yeah, but Amsterdam's pretty good. London Heathrow should be fine too. but I really recommend avoiding Charles de Gaulle in Paris. Not just from personal experience, it's happened to many.
Good advice.
Great.
Thank you guys. Yes. Okay.
If there are no other questions, I think that's it.
All right.
Thank you all for
Thank
being
you.
here on an
Thank
early
you.
morning.
Good luck, I don't real. Yeah.